By 93 AD, Domitian declares himself Dominus et Deus, Lord and God. He has become unpredictable, vindictive, and dangerous.
He made virtually everyone close to him feel continually under threat, and it was only a matter of time before someone lashed out to kill him before he killed them.
As long as Domitian lives, no one around him is safe. His wife Domitia, her steward Stephanus, and others close to Domitian decide to take matters into their own hands, according to biographer Suetonius.
As the conspirators were deliberating when and how to attack Domitian, whether at the bath or at dinner, Stephanus, Domitian's steward, offered his aid. To avoid suspicion, he wrapped up his left arm in woolen bandages for some days, pretending that he had injured it and concealed in them a dagger.
We know that at the time he's assassinated on September 18th, 96 AD, that he's hated by his wife Domitia, that he's hated by various courtiers and freedmen, that the Senate's not too fond of him. No one likes Domitian at this point. So there may have been a combination conspiracy between the imperial house and various members of the Senate.
The plot is worked out. Now it's time to set it in motion. Holding himself accountable to no one, Emperor Domitian is despised by everyone. By alienating Rome's allies and depleting its wealth, he puts himself in mortal danger. A trusted servant, Stephanus, approaches the emperor, playing on his fears, according to Roman biographer Suetonius.
Given an audience with the emperor, by pretending to reveal a conspiracy against him, Stephanus handed him a scroll of false evidence and then stabbed him as he read it.
Hearing the commotion, Domitian's guards rush in. Too late to save the emperor, too soon for Stephanus to escape. Domitian is only 45 at the time of his assassination. He has reigned for 15 years.
The assassination of Domitian unfolds as a plot within, at least initially within his household. He's assassinated by members of his court and assassinated in a private space. In many ways, this looks like a sort of open and shut case, but there are reasons to think that other things are happening.
With Domitian dead, the Senate presses its advantage, according to historian Suetonius.
The people received the news of Domitian's death with indifference, but the soldiers grieved and at once tried to call him Domitian the God. The senators, on the other hand, were so overjoyed that they raced to insult the dead emperor, pulling down his statue, chiseling his name from the buildings, and smashing his likeness before the eyes of the people.
The Senate wastes no time appointing a new emperor.
In the immediate aftermath of Domitian's assassination, the Senate at Rome sought out one of its own members as a new emperor, a man named Nerva, who was an elderly man and without children, and without any particular military distinction. The reasons for their choosing him are shrouded in history now.
Nerva is acclaimed by the Senate suspiciously quickly. And Nerva is an excellent compromise candidate if you're looking to appoint an emperor that most people could deal with, because Nerva is old, Nerva is sickly, Nerva doesn't have a son. And so he is in essence a placeholder while you figure out what you want to really do.
Nerva knows his role is only temporary, and he makes the most of it.
Rather, of course, than Nerva abdicating, or for that matter, Nerva being assassinated for his weakness in controlling the troops, he took, in fact, a co-emperor, one who gave him exactly those qualities that he himself lacked. Tremendous respect among the military being foremost among them.
Within a year, Nerva adopts up-and-coming General Trajan as his heir and names him co-emperor. History is silent on the question of whether Trajan was part of the original conspiracy to assassinate Domitian.
I don't think we can say Trajan was involved, but he likely was aware of it, and that doesn't even necessarily mean he supported it. He could have been aware of it, but recognized that this was a circumstance that he couldn't change and was willing to accept.
Three years later, Trajan, on foot and in civilian garb, is almost unrecognizable as he arrives at Rome's gates in 98 AD. He has come to be declared sole emperor after Nerva's natural death. He receives a hero's welcome once the guards realize who he is.
When Trajan arrives in Rome, everybody is overjoyed because here's a relatively young emperor who is keen to collaborate with the people and the Senate in governing the empire, and it's seen almost as the dawn of a new age.
From the outset, it is clear that Trajan is everything Domitian was not. The historian Pliny celebrates the new emperor's gloriously modest arrival.
The very method of your entry won delight and surprise, for your predecessors chose to be carried in, not satisfied even to be drawn by 4 white horses, but lifted up on human shoulders in their overbearing pride. You towered above us only because of your own splendid physique.
He had due respect for the groups that mattered, and perhaps more importantly for the groups that wrote history, and that's why Trajan goes down as being such a good emperor.
Trajan inherits Rome's humiliating and costly treaty with the Dacians. Thanks to Domitian, in exchange for peace, these barbarians are entitled to Roman weaponry, Roman deserters, and each year another large portion of Roman wealth. And Trajan won't tolerate that.
Trajan, and probably many like Trajan, looked at the defeat that the Dacians had inflicted on Domitian, or at least the treaty that the Dacians had inflicted on Domitian, as a real black eye for the Romans. And so there was incentive to do something about this and to fix this situation.
Trajan doesn't stay in Rome long. He and 9 Roman legions and auxiliary troops head to the Danube to take care of unfinished business. He fortifies Rome's military presence on the frontier, preparing for a long engagement along the Danube. But before he can confront the Dacians, he must build the infrastructure to support his troops. Only then, according to the historian Cassius Dio, will he be ready to repair the damage wrought by Domitian and restore Rome's honor by settling the score with the Dacians.
He took into account their past deeds and was grieved at the amount of money they were receiving annually. And he also observed that their power and their pride were increasing.
But vengeance might not have been Trajan's sole motivation.
There are any number of motives that Trajan could have had for going after Decebalus at this point. It could have been revenge and national honor. It could be a matter of a new emperor who wants to gain prestige and authority and solidify his position, so he's going to go off and make war. Maybe both of those.
The campaign is a huge undertaking. Trajan spends a year building forts, roads, and bridges in preparation.
It's a very difficult area for the Romans to penetrate, and a lot of engineering work has to be carried out, first of all, to cross the Danube there. There's lots of narrow gorges and so on.
By 101 AD, Trajan is ready. Trajan's reputation as a master commander precedes him, and the Dacian king Decebalus wants to undermine his efforts by making sure he doesn't profit. To keep the Dacian treasury from falling into Roman hands, Decebalus buries his riches. Only he and his henchman Bacillus know where.
Dacia is a relatively rich area. If the Romans were to expand, Dacia would be a natural choice. The resources are there to make this, if not a profitable campaign, at least a campaign that could potentially pay for itself.